One of the leader's wives saying how much she loved him. That followed the Prime Minister going on telly to show he was a human being. And across the land, lucky people are opening their inboxes and discovering emails from one or other of them. We're told the election campaign will be dominated by the leader debates. British politics is increasingly being recast in the image of America. The parties here go further. Labour have hired Obama's pollster. The Tories are consulting one of his political strategists. Peter Marshall has been wondering what more they can learn.
They don't have a lot in common, but Gordon Brown and David Cameron do share a dream. It's a dream of the land of Hollywood and hamburgers, and being best buddies with the superpower. They dream of America.
For Gordon Brown, the dream was first made flesh nearly 2 decades ago in the substantial form of Bill Clinton. His New Democrats were hugely influential in the creation of New Labour. The Democrats' policies were formed by the people the Americans call wonks. We're now off to see one of the leading wonks.
Even before Clinton was inaugurated, Tony Blair and Gordon Brown came, and that was the beginning of a succession of trips. We often saw Gordon Brown in those days, and David Miliband, and many other members of the New Labour insurrection, and they came over for long skull sessions on policy, and they interviewed all the pollsters and the people who had done the field work in the campaign, and just generally hoovered up any lessons they could that could be applied to their own challenge.
When New Labour was elected, Bill Clinton was invited to a cabinet meeting.
I'm not going to give any advice. I'm going to sit here and take it. All you got to let me do it.
But once the Democrats' term was up, Blair quickly fell in with his new political ally, George W. Bush. Blair's wooing a Republican president had the added effect of weakening UK Tory ties with the Republican Party. Amanda Bowman is a British-born US citizen based in New York. She's a Conservative but works with politicians on both sides and saw Blair's success.
Where did that leave the Conservative Party's relationship with the Republican Party?
Well, I think it eroded it considerably.
Because?
Because Tony Blair was unequivocal about his support for going into Iraq. And the Conservative Party obviously took a different tack. And at that time, that was a very emotional and important decision. And so, in consequence, you had a realignment.
You had Republicans looking to Blair, if not to the Labour
yes.
Party.
A procession of Conservative Party leaders struggled to no avail to combat Blair's spell on America. But now Blair's gone, and David Cameron, who once allegedly claimed to be the heir to Blair, is eager for the challenge.
It's not some vague change. It's not changing one group of politicians for another group of politicians. It is real change.
His campaign theme of change will be a straight lift from Barack Obama.
And change is coming to America.
There's no question that the British Conservative Party seem to want to pull a Tony Blair, that is, to present a new, young face on their party. The question I would have is whether they have done the intellectual spade work.
It's true there's an awful lot of digging still to be done, but the ground at the moment isn't exactly yielding.
The Tories have tried to build alliances with their natural Conservative allies in the Republican Party. Christopher Caldwell is a Conservative writer who's interviewed David Cameron.
At that point, I'd say the people who were closest to the Cameron crowd were those that had come into contact with it mostly through Steve Hilton, his advisor, and that would be Arnold Schwarzenegger, the governor of California. And I recall that George Osborne invited John McCain to speak at one of the Tory party conferences.
Discouragingly, Schwarzenegger's popularity ratings have gone through the floor in California, while President John McCain, well, that didn't actually happen. Today, David Cameron's Conservatives are in campaign mode, tacking towards the centre, while the Republicans in America are lurching ever further towards the right.
They've different agendas and different policies. Nick Herbert's a shadow cabinet minister and he's openly gay. Last month he led a debate urging Republicans to drop their hostility to gay rights.
I'm not here to preach or to interfere in your affairs. I'm neither here to tea party nor to go clubbing. But I can tell you what happens to a party when it closes the door to sections of our society and is reduced to its core vote. It's no fun being in opposition for 13 years.
There's still not a single Republican Congress member who's come out as gay, and on issues like this and abortion and state health care, the parties remain a world apart. Lee Cohen is a Republican who works on Capitol Hill and has met a trail of shadow cabinet ministers. Amid all the talk of UK Conservatives campaigning towards the centre, he says it's vital the right holds sway in any Cameron cabinet.
It is, because it harkens back to that friendship of the Reagan-Thatcher years that I think was very defined, and that there was no ambiguity.
It was ideologically sound, I suppose.
It was sound and it was clear.
The Reagan-Thatcher relationship was, of course, the platonic ideal for Conservatives on both sides of the Atlantic. But times are different. David Cameron would be paired with a Democratic president. So what, if anything, do they have in common?
Both of them come from the red-hot, burning ideological core of their party. Obama is from academia and from community organizing. Cameron is from the Thatcher-era conservative central office. These are both places where the ideology of the party gets hammered out. And yet, temperamentally, both of them don't like to fight in a real partisan, well, let's say they don't like to fight in a real ideological way.
And driving home the point, Cameron's Conservatives have been making overtures to Obama's Democrats.
Other leading Tory ministers have come over and have made a point of seeing Democrats as well as Republicans, as indeed they should.
Are they making any headway, though?
I think so.
Labour look on all this appalled. David Cameron tries to pull a Blair, while his pals try to pull Blair's bird, America's bald eagle. The high passions of the new Labour, New Democrat love affair may be long over, but faced with present circumstances, they're trying to rekindle the flame.
While Obama and Gordon Brown have already had a working relationship, individuals from their campaign teams have also been close. Tom McMahon for the Democrats has been to talks in Downing Street. He's told them the change message can be trumped.
The issue remains number one, which is jobs and improving the economy. And that is the message that ultimately is going to resonate, is who's going to do a better job of producing these jobs, of creating jobs, of answering the call in terms of turning the economy around. And I think, you know, you can neutralize the change candidacy argument if you're successful in articulating that message.
Matt Brown, a new Labour veteran in Washington, says even Obama's problems could give subliminal help.
Those people who've witnessed the first year of the Obama administration have seen that it's very hard to implement change, and that simply being the candidate of change doesn't bring about change. So Gordon Brown has the advantage, which he can obviously sell, of knowing how the system works, of 13 years of competent rule, of bringing the country out of recession now, and hopefully that will be a message that resonates.
So for change, vote status quo. The irony is that while both Brown and Cameron nurture their dreams of America and Obama, the president himself appears blithely unconcerned. Whoever's resident in Downing Street, the superpower can rely on their support.